Today on Weenie, Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. 2 mana, that is 1 colorless and 1 blue mana for a 0/2 legendary human wizard. Jace fits in a lot of different blue strategies and a lot of different card abilities like Delve and other things that can take advantage of a graveyard, because Jace allows you to loot cards off the top of your library. You draw, then you discard, you put something into your graveyard to reanimate, to to flash it back later on. His ability is just suited to a lot of different blue types of strategies. But if you have 5 or more cards in your graveyard when you activate his ability, you exile him and then return him to the graveyard, to the battlefield as Jace, Telepath Unbound. He starts off with 5 loyalty, and in fact, all of the Planeswalkers from Magic Origins have a built-in ability to protect themselves. In this case, Jace's first ability, his +1 is that up to 1 target creature gets -2/-0 until end of turn, until your next turn. This ability stops your opponent's creatures from swinging out and killing Jace, or at least one creature. So you get him out early, you block a few things, etc. But then once he flips, you need some way to protect yourself and how to protect Jace. So that first ability negates 3 damage. You give him a +1 and a -2 to something else. So if something swings at him, he'll be at 6, and it'll have 2 less damage it can deal. So if it's not already a small creature, you'll at least keep Jace around for a few more turns. But it's that middle ability that everybody focuses on, and that's the Snapcaster ability. You -3 him, and you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn, casting it instead of playing it from your hand or from any other type of, from any other source. Being able to cast it from your graveyard is the Snapcaster ability, giving it essentially flashback because it is exiled if it would be put back into your graveyard. Now, of course, you can use Soulfire Grandmaster with that ability. You return it to your hand. Or if the spell has buyback, you can return it to your hand instead of putting it into the graveyard as it resolves. So it works a little bit differently from regular flashback costs. And that means you can play it in different types of spells, like you cast Forbid or discard Forbid, and then you'd still be able to get it back and buy it back to your hand by discarding 2 more cards, which fits for a very decent Delve strategy. Now let's talk about that third ability, -9. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, target opponent puts the top 5 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. What this means is that you can cast any type of card draw ability or any other type of an ability, and you get to mill them to death. In fact, if this were played in Tiny Leaders, you could mill your opponent to death with, well, gosh, anywhere from 7 or 8 spells should be enough. And not to mention, this isn't even with spells that actually do cause your opponent to mill themselves to death. For example, you could play cards like Tome Scour to mill 10. You could play cards like Thought Scour from Dark Ascension or Ray of Erasure from Ice Age, and it just keeps on milling your opponent. You can foreshadow them, draw cards, and mill them. You can predict cards, predict from Odyssey, of course, and foreshadow from Visions. You can even use Azorius Charm to put an attacking creature on the top of their library. Then, after it resolves, the ability triggers off the emblem, and it mills the cards into their graveyard. So there's a lot of different... well, actually, you'll mill the cards off the top of the library before before it puts them on top. But if you have any effects that can put the creatures on top of your opponent's library, and then cast something just to force them to mill, you're going to have a lot of different options here. I mean, just think of Mind Sculpt, the card from M13 and also reprinted in M15, which will be rotating out soon. But Mind Sculpt with that emblem, I mean, originally it did 7, but now it does 12. You can even use Dream Twist from Innistrad. Dream Twist was milled 3, and then you could flash it back for 1/1 blue to mill 3 more. Between the 2 of them, that's 2 separate castings, so that would be 16 cards milled for roughly 3 mana, 2 blue. You can build a decent mill strategy around Jace, Telepath Unbound, playing him as your Tiny Leader or your commander. I mean, he combines very well with... you could play him in a black-blue deck by playing things like Glimpse the Unthinkable or Mind Grind. You can play just Increasing Confusion. Cast it once and then cast it out of the graveyard again. Again, flashback spells work very well with Jace, and that's why he's such a good card. It's also why he's the subject of today's Weenie Envy. So I hope this has inspired you to, well, even if it hasn't inspired you to build a mill deck, I hope this has made you a little bit more aware of what kind of cards you can expect when someone is playing Jace, Telepath Unbound. Yeah, and you can of course combat that kind of an effect by playing the original Eldrazi Titans, who have the reshuffle your graveyard when they hit the graveyard. You can play Gia's Blessing. You can play that type of effect, or you can play cards like Thran Foundry, Felden's Cane, things that put your graveyard back into your library. Just watch out for things that exile your graveyard. So, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, a wonderful afternoon, and or a wonderful evening, and I hope tomorrow is even better. Take care, everyone.